AI in education has been probably from the early days of generative AI and OpenAI releasing their capabilities was the most disrupted. Every student figured out, oh, wow, I can start writing my term papers using AI. And so many school districts went to lockdown first. Yeah, I remember Fairfax ISD, one of the largest independent school systems in Northern Virginia, they locked it down saying no one can use AI to do this. And over the next 12 to 14 months, they've started to kind of swing that pendulum and realize what are the opportunities. And there's a lot of opportunities for students, but there's also a lot for teachers. Think of all of the effort that a teacher must go to prepare a curriculum for their students for the day. And most of the time they're teaching to the middle of the class. Now with AI, you can say, based on this curriculum, how can I teach for reading levels A, B, and C, and be able to then have that, as well as, oh, I've got two students that are multilingual. How can I have one learn from Vietnamese, and how can I teach one that's primarily in Spanish? So this is giving and unlocking teachers opportunity to really customize how they're being able to deliver the content to the students. And yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, so you can easily start tailoring your agenda and what you're going to be speaking to based on different events. So this is a great way for teachers to really start harnessing the value of generative AI to help them with some of the tedious work that they do on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's so good. And I want to hear from Nick on this one because Nick, I know you're passionate about it. I'm curious, right? It almost feels like, and let me know what you think, Nick. I feel like the students, though, are pretty much running the game right now. They're ahead of the adoption gap, right? It looks like the students are excited. Most students are excited about AI and they're using it more. We see that in the headlines, and the teachers and our education departments, locally are just a little behind there. But it sounds like there's some good work uh, based on what Jason's saying too. It sounds like we're starting to get the education departments, teachers, starting to use these things more to be more efficient, productive, and actually, hyper personalize the education experience. What are your thoughts?
I think the I think that it was a really big shock, and it was very shocking to teachers that there's this technology out there. And I remember a similar reaction happening when Google came out, and Google was supposed to destroy libraries, and that no students would ever go to libraries again because Google existed.
Don't mess with my
So
libraries.
yeah,
Don't mess with my library.
don't mess with my library Linda, man. My library Linda back in the day. She was my favorite librarian. But I think there was an overreaction, and I think that the students obviously are more prone to adopting quicker, right? Because they're more curious, they experiment more, perhaps they have a lot more time on their hands. Teachers don't, right? So I think there's a huge gap. There's a window right now where schools have not set a stance or a position yet, or perhaps they've taken too aggressive a position on not allowing it at all, which just creates a reason for kids to go around. I mean, it's literally the kid in the candy store sort of dynamic, right? So don't tell a kid, put a bunch of candy in front of them, tell them not to eat it. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to find a way to eat it. So there's the too aggressive, there's no position, and then there's like I think there's embraced, and then there's like I guess there's another extreme to that. But I think that sort of in between, that balanced version is embraced, is where the teachers have acknowledged it. They are encouraging proper use of it. The faculty has invested in technology that is approved for students to use. So now they're encouraging use of AI, but on platforms where students can't necessarily use it to cheat. So I think that uh, tools like that, and NISD is one of them that we work with at Wycliffe AI, that does a good job of that.
I love that, and not to give up all your information here, Nick, but I know that you come from a family or have a family member right? Shout outs to Christina. I know she watches sometimes. She's in the education
Yeah.
system. How do you use AI from an education point of view in the home? And I'd love to hear from you too, Jason, on this, because I know you do some things as well. I think if we can give the audience some practical use cases in our homes, and I'll make sure to share one of mine as well, with something recent. But how do you do that, Nick?
Man, I'm really zoomed in here, Samantha. If you can pull me back a little bit, I appreciate it. Um,
What do you do, Nick?
I um,
You're on the hot seat.
I I'm in the hot seat. Yeah, it's okay. We'll get it fixed. So we at home, there's also a varying interest. It's funny because my wife is very much a luddite. Okay, and this is no, I'm not casting dispersions on her. A luddite means she's just still writes. If she could write checkbooks, if we still got checkbooks, checks from our bank, she would still write checks. She still writes on a calendar instead of
Oh,
putting
you're dead.
calendars, in
You're dead.
meetings on it. So
You're
anyway, I know,
dead. She's gonna
I
kill you.
know,
She's
I'm
gonna
dead.
kill you.
This is my death wish. Please use a digital calendar. Uh, no, so she's like that. So my oldest is very much like that. But then the gradient starts to lean towards my side as you get younger. So my middle Jasmine, she's really open to this, and then Giovanni's really open to this. So we use opportunities like, for example, I had the kids use AI to make pictures, and then we transitioned into making coloring books, and then I had
Love
them
that.
take a script of prompts that generated the top 50 cat breeds to generate a coloring book. Then we did that. I remember in Midjourney. They downloaded everything. We went to Canva, and then we just used a coloring book template, and we put them all in place. We made a cover, and we actually put it on Amazon. It's actually available on Amazon. I mean, it's probably made like 700-800 bucks, but that's pretty cool for a family project, you know.
It sounds like it's a profitable flow through too. I like it. I like it.
It is.
Okay.
I'm putting them to work.
Yes, I love it. Well, it's funny because my dad used to always just make me pull weeds. Now we have AI. I like this one better. Jason, what about you? What are some case studies that we can share with that you can share with the audience
Yeah.
specific to AI and education?
So I think for my family, we do a lot of utilizing the AI voice capabilities and build your choose your own adventure type of reading and learning.
That is
And
so
my son
cool.
gets a kick out of that because when he hears his name being included into the story, he just really gets excited about that, and it really um, makes it come to life to him if he feels that he's with his friend Rexy the T Rex as they're going on their adventures and things like that. So it's been great. But there's also a lot of other capabilities to help students, not just what was worried about in the beginning of giving students the answer, but utilizing AI as an assistant to help you learn the topics and get more exposure and be able to really strengthen your knowledge in those topics. And I know we've got a product that we're building to be able to help students with that, to help the emotional as well as the educational side of that, as well as other capabilities that are out there that can help not give the students the answer, but teach them how to do that and be a complement to those teachers that are spending all this time trying to educate them. By utilizing this, having the parents be included in it really can change the direction of students and how they get excited about school and learning.
That is huge, right? We're talking about teachers, but we're also talking about it's a big hot topic, right? Especially domestically around parents being involved in the education system with their child, having the choice and being the spokesperson, right, on behalf of their kiddo, which I think is great. And I love that using AI to be able to do that, and again, hyper personalizing the education experience. Because in past, it was kind of a cookie cutter. You either thrived or didn't, and didn't really take into consideration, for the most part, your learning style, right? And now you can do that. I love that. So you mentioned how White Glove actually plays in this space quite a bit. And Nick, I'd love to go back to you because I know you're very passionate. This has been for quite some time. And Actually, we don't promote it a lot, and I think this is a good opportunity today to do that on
We don't.
how we just had
Yeah.
Melissa Kraft. As we were chatting with her, she's a CIO of Frisco, an amazing conversation on building smart cities, right? And White Glove's been a big part of that, but also if you lift up the hood on how we give back to students in our community and to our kiddos, White Glove's been on the map for quite some time. Do you want to walk us through what that looks like?
Yeah, and I want to apologize for Samantha. That was my my AI camera that zoomed really close in on my face. That was not your fault.
Skynet,
uh,
Skynet.
no, yeah, yeah. We do go to like career fairs, and we interact with kids. We have an apprenticeship program, and that's what Samantha's on right now. She's not a kid; I mean, she's in college, but you know, we tend to hire after 18 years old. But there are so many opportunities out there for kids to really accelerate their career, find their passion. If you don't know what ikigai is, it's IKAGI. It's a Japanese philosophy
Yes.
on the four concentric circles. Albert, you know what that is?
Yes, absolutely. And just
Yeah.
living out.
So
Yeah, I love it.
it's about what are you good in life? You know, what does the world need? What will make you money? And I forgot the fourth circle, but it's sort of that beautiful harmony of doing just what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. I know it sounds very sappy, but that's the truth, and that's what we try to get out in the community and talk to the kids about, because I think a lot of times kids are put into this school system where we are constrained by the level of individualized attention. An average classroom size in the United States is between 30 to 35 kids to every one teacher. I mean, my wife comes home and teaches special education, so there needs to be even more individualized attention. Fortunately, she's able to give more individualized attention because she's in the special education department. But regular teachers who are teaching regular subjects that don't warrant that kind of individualized attention, it's hard for a child to really be able to explore their strengths and their abilities if they're not being challenged at home. Because at school, we're all following sort of a cookie cutter system, right? Montessori, that system has actually broken that mold. And we're very fortunate for our youngest one to go to a Montessori early on, which has benefited him greatly. And we still see the benefits today, and I think we will into the future. But I think what we're developing, it's called SOREN. It was inspired just by my interactions with my kids. It's really SOREN is meant to bridge the home life and the school life. It's not meant to compete with current AI systems that schools use, like Konamigo or Power School. There's School Bus. I mean, there's a bunch of them. And so it's not meant to compete with them. It's meant to augment them and serve as a bridge between the home life and the school life. So I think oftentimes there's a lot of miscommunication and lack of communication between parents and teachers that leads to the degradation of the child's education and their overall life in early childhood.
Yeah, it's spot on. I really like what you're saying there. Love that you brought up Ikigai and its framework. For those that haven't read anything about that, that Japanese way of life, I highly recommend that you do that. It's just a good framework for just life. And it's funny. I'm what I'm getting from both of you too, not just the hyper personalized experience, but just giving back to our kiddos, building up their self esteem. I did Jameson, my oldest. God, I wish he loved sports, and he just doesn't. I was a triathlete, college football player, and my dad was pretty tough on me when it came to sports. So I thought I'd do the same, and this kid is he's too smart. He outsmarts me. He just not does not like sports that much. But what I found out is he's very mathematically inclined, and recently built him a AI GPT. This kiddo's in second grade. He's doing eighth grade math. And what I wanted to do there, though, is teach him life lessons, but also give him some positive reinforcement to kick it off. So every day, or just about every day when he comes on, he's excited to be with the bot. Her name's Sky, and he's doing his math with her. But the first things that he hears or actually reads on there, and to Jason's point, you can do it through voice as well, is Jameson, you're a great kid. You're a smart kid. your parents love you. And so there's different things that you can embed in the knowledge base too when it comes to AI, and just making sure we build up their self-esteem too, not just in the curriculum, but just in your day-to-day life experiences. And I think that's important, especially with, and it still is prevalent, a lot of the bullying. My kiddos are getting a little older, and I'm starting to see a little bit of the bullying. And as much as I want to go shake another kid, I won't do that. I'm not going to jail, but I just want to make sure my kids are protected. And there's ways to do that at home, to your point, Nick and Jason.